One bad choice cost him $3 million in a single day. Curious what it was? Stick with me, because this true story will shock you and might just save your bank account. This is the crazy journey of Alex Carter, a guy who went from a small-town kid with big dreams to a Wall Street player, only to crash hard with one terrible decision. You're about to hear how he built his wealth, what led to his epic downfall, and the lessons that could stop you from making the same mistake. It's a wild ride of ambition, greed, and a moment that flipped his life upside down, plus some practical tips to keep your money safe. Let's jump in. Imagine a kid growing up in a small Ohio town in the late 1980s. Alex Carter was born in 1985 to a factory worker dad and a part-time cashier mom. Money was always tight. They lived in a modest house, no fancy vacations, no new toys, just the basics. Alex was different, though. He had a knack for numbers. By the time he was in high school, he was helping his mom stretch every dollar, sitting at the kitchen table with a pencil, figuring out how to pay the bills. His friends were out playing basketball, but Alex was obsessed with never being broke again. That drive, that hunger, set the stage for everything that followed. Fast forward to 2003. Alex is 18, sharp as a tack, and lands a scholarship to a solid state college. He dives into finance, soaking up everything: stock markets, bonds, investing strategies. He graduates with honors in 2007 and heads to New York City, the heart of the financial world. He starts as a junior analyst at a big investment firm, making $60,000 a year. Not bad for a kid who grew up eating store-brand cereal. But Alex wasn't just good, he was relentless. He'd stay late, poring over stock charts, studying market trends, learning the game. By 2010, at just 25, he's managing a small portfolio for clients, pulling in a six-figure salary. He's living lean, saving every penny, and dreaming of millions. Here's where things get interesting. In 2012, Alex gets a call from a buddy who works at a hedge fund. The guy's buzzing about a tech startup called Tech Trend Innovations, set to go public. Think of it like the love child of Tesla and Apple in their early days. The hype is real. Tech Trend's got this AI-driven software that's supposedly revolutionary, backed by a patent and big-name investors. Alex does his research, and the numbers check out. The initial public offering, IPO, is priced at $20 a share, but analysts are whispering it could hit $100 within a year. Alex has $500,000 saved up, every cent from bonuses, side gigs, and living like he's still in college despite his fat paycheck. Now, Alex knows the rules. Every finance book screams diversification: don't put all your money in one place. Spread the risk. But this feels different. His buddy's dropping hints about insider confidence, and the market's going wild with excitement. Alex starts thinking, this is it. This is my chance to make it big. He's not just going to dip his toes in, he's diving headfirst. By early 2013, he's got a plan. He'll leverage everything. He takes out a $2 million loan, using his savings as collateral, and buys 100,000 shares of Tech Trend at $20 each. That's $2.5 million total, his entire net worth, plus a mountain of debt. It's a bold move, maybe even reckless, but Alex is convinced he's cracked the code. For a hot minute, it looks like he's a genius. Tech Trend stock rockets to $35 a share within weeks of the IPO. Alex's investment is now worth $3.5 million on paper. He's getting calls from colleagues, high-fiving in the office, feeling like he's on top of the world. He's not just a small-town kid anymore, he's the next big thing. But markets are like roller coasters, and Alex is about to hit the steepest drop of his life. By mid-2013, things start unraveling. Tech Trend's AI software, the one everyone was raving about. It's got problems. Serious ones. Early users are reporting bugs, crashes, glitches, data losses. A major client, a Fortune 500 company, pulls out of a deal, citing technical concerns. Whispers start spreading that TechTrend might have overhyped its revenue projections to juice the IPO. Alex hears the chatter but shrugs it off. Every startup has growing pains, right? He's still all in, convinced the stock will rebound. Instead of selling, he doubles down, buying another 50,000 shares on margin at $30 each. Now his total investment is $3 million, almost all borrowed money. He's leveraged up to his eyeballs, meaning if the stock crashes, he's not just losing his savings, he's on the hook for the loans. Then, the hammer drops. In late 2013, a bombshell hits. TechTrend's CEO is caught in a scandal. An SEC investigation reveals he's been cooking the books, inflating the company's revenue to make it look more valuable. The stock tanks overnight, plummeting from $35 to $5. Alex wakes up to a nightmare. His $3 million investment is now worth $750,000. Worse, the margin calls start pouring in. The bank wants its $2 million loan back, and they're not asking nicely. Alex has no cash left, so he's forced to sell his shares at the rock-bottom price. By the time it's over, he's lost everything, his $500,000 savings, his portfolio, and he still owes $1.2 million to the bank. One bad decision, one moment of overconfidence, and he's not just broke, he's buried. Let's break this down. Alex's story isn't just a wild tale, it's a textbook case of what not to do with your money. His biggest screw-up was putting all his eggs in one basket. A 2021 J.P. Morgan study found that 70% of investors who bet big on a single stock lose money over 5 years. Diversification isn't sexy, but it's your safety net. Alex ignored it, thinking he'd found the golden ticket. He also borrowed way too much. Leverage can supercharge your gains, but it's like playing with dynamite. When it blows, it takes everything with it. According to a 2020 Federal Reserve report, margin debt in the U.S. hit $850 billion, and overleveraged investors like Alex are often the first to get wiped out in a crash. Another mistake was letting emotions drive the bus. Alex got caught up in the hype, his buddies' tip, the market buzz, the dream of millions. He ignored red flags like the software bugs and the client pullout. A 2019 study from the University of California on behavioral finance showed that investors driven by greed or fear underperform by about 1.5% a year compared to those who stick to cold, hard data. Alex's buddies' insider tip didn't help either. Hot tips sound exciting, but they're often half-baked or biased. The SEC's 2020 report on insider trading found that 60% of retail investors who chase tips end up losing money. Then there's the overconfidence. Alex thought he could outsmart the market. He wasn't dumb, he was a finance whiz, but even the best get burned. A 2018 study from the Journal of Financial Economics found that overconfident investors trade more and lose more, with returns 2 to 3% lower than cautious ones. Alex's mix of greed, leverage, and ignoring warning signs was a recipe for disaster. So, what happened to Alex after the crash? He was 28, drowning in $1.2 million of debt, and his Wall Street career was toast. His firm let him go. Nobody trusts an analyst who bets the farm and loses. He packed up his tiny New York apartment and moved back to Ohio, crashing with his parents. To make ends meet, he started delivering pizzas, pulling in $800 a month while creditors hounded him. The interest on his loans was eating him alive, $5,000 a month just to keep the bank at bay. He later said in a blog post, "I'd lie awake at night, heart pounding, wondering if I'd ever climb out of this hole. It felt like I'd lost my future." But Alex wasn't the type to give up. He started reading, devouring books like The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham and A Random Walk Down Wall Street by Burton Malkiel. He learned about index funds, boring, steady investments that track the market. Vanguard's 2022 data shows index funds like the S&P 500 average 7 to 10% annual returns over the long haul, with way less risk than picking individual stocks. Alex started small, putting $50 a month from his pizza tips into a low-cost S&P 500 fund. He also picked up a side hustle, tutoring high school kids in math and finance for $20 an hour. By 2016, he'd chipped away at his debt, getting it down to $800,000. He also had to rebuild his confidence. The crash didn't just tank his bank account, it crushed his self-esteem. He felt like a failure, the small-town kid who thought he'd made it, only to fall harder than anyone. Therapy helped. He started journaling, working through the shame and guilt. By 2018, he'd paid off the last of his debt, thanks to his tutoring gig and a second job as a freelance financial writer. He wasn't rich, but he was free. That was worth more than any stock tip. The big turning point came in 2020. Alex, now 35, had saved $10,000, a small but hard-earned nest egg. He was ready to invest again, but this time, he played it smart. No single stocks, no crazy loans. He spread his money across a mix of index funds, 60%, bonds, 30%, and a real estate ETF, 10%. According to a 2023 Fidelity study, portfolios with a 60-40 stock-bond split weather market crashes better than all stock ones, losing 20% less on average during downturns. Alex wasn't chasing millions anymore, he was chasing stability. He also started a blog, From Broke to Balanced, sharing his story and practical money tips. It struck a chord. People loved his honesty, admitting his screw-ups, breaking down complex finance stuff into simple advice. By 2021, the blog was getting 10,000 views a month, enough to bring in ad revenue and land him speaking gigs. He wasn't rolling in cash, but by 2023, his portfolio had grown to $50,000, and he was earning a steady $3,000 a month from his blog and talks. He moved into a small apartment, nothing fancy, but it was his. For the first time in years, he felt like he was back in control. Alex's story is packed with lessons for anyone with a dollar to their name. First, never bet it all on one stock. Diversify like your life depends on it, stocks, bonds, ETFs, maybe some real estate. A 2023 Morningstar report says diversified portfolios cut risk by 30% compared to single stock bets. Second, don't borrow to invest unless you're ready to lose everything. Margin loans are like playing poker with a loan shark, if you lose, they're coming for you. Third, keep your emotions in check. Hype feels amazing, but it's a trap. Stick to data, check balance sheets, read earnings reports, and skip the hot tips. The SEC's 2021 data shows 80% of retail investors who chase trends lose money in the first year. Fourth, recovery is possible, no matter how bad it gets. Alex went from $1.2 million in debt to a stable portfolio and a new career. Start small, even if it's $10 a month. Time in the market beats trying to time the market. Since 1928, the S&P 500 has averaged 9.8% annual returns, per NYU's Stern School data. Patience isn't sexy, but it works. Finally, learn from your mistakes. Alex turned his disaster into a platform to help others. You don't need to lose $3 million to figure out what he did, just listen to his story. Alex Carter's $3 million mistake wasn't just a bad day, it was a life-altering wake-up call. He went from a Wall Street high-flyer to delivering pizzas because he ignored the basics: diversify, stay calm, and don't bet what you can't afford to lose. But his comeback proves you can rebuild, one small step at a time. Whether you're investing your first buck or your last, let Alex's story remind you to play smart, not fast. Mistakes happen, but they don't have to define you. Want more stories like this? Check out the next video popping up now.